And back joining us in the studio for Special Issue Task Force is Haeyoung. Haeyoung, hello.
Hello, SJ. It's been a while. Did you miss me? Did you miss me?
No, but...
Did I just sound like Iris?
No.
SJ, did you miss me?
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I missed you guys, our listeners.
That's really... Hold on.
I had a bread for this morning, and I had another bread for lunch.
Oh, no. It was good in the beginning, and then Haeyoung came back. That was pretty good.
Yeah?
Okay.
Should I practice
I have
more?
a question for you.
Yeah.
Because, like a couple of years back, I had a chance to go to England. Ashley went
Was
to...
it 2023 or 2024?
I think it was 24.
24?
Was it 24? I think it was 24.
I'm confused all of a sudden.
It might have been 24. No, it was 23. 23.
Right. Yeah,
it was 23
23
because my daughter was born in 24. Okay, it was 23.
It was before your daughter was born.
Was it 22?
No, it wasn't 22.
It was 23.
It wasn't that long ago.
It was 23. It was 23. It was 23.
Yes.
Any country, but it has to be where our listeners are. Right? Where would you want to go?
California way. Dun, dun,
You
dun,
want
dun.
to go to California?
California.
Why would you want to go to California?
Because I used to live in California.
Why would you want to go
LA?
back to where you want to? I don't want to go to New
Because
York.
I miss LA.
I don't want to go to New York.
Really?
Well, Bruce
at
is
all?
in Los
Like at
Angeles.
all? 0%?
I'll tell you this, though. It would be cool to visit Jenga over in
You didn't
Syracuse.
have any friends in Syracuse? Maybe that's the reason why. Because my friends are still living in LA. And I really want to visit my friend's place.
Tim, no one who went to Syracuse still lives in Syracuse.
Really? Why not?
You don't want to live in Syracuse.
Because it's too cold in winter?
It's a terrible place to live. All right? But I would actually, for the shooting, I would actually go to Syracuse.
Even if you go shooting in LA, you will not gonna have time.
It's true. It's like nonstop.
To meet your
it was a lot of
friends.
work.
Yeah.
It's really like
I can imagine.
We had I think 5 hours of just tour time.
Oh.
And that's about it. So.
Ooh.
But
In
anyways,
London?
In London.
And what did you do for that 5
met
hours? James.
James and met Chris in Leeds.
Oh.
And then
That was lovely.
we went to
That
BBC.
was lovely.
Went to BBC. It was nice.
Lovely to meet your mate.
It was lovely. Anyways, what isn't lovely is what's happening to former President Yoon Suk-yeol now. The defendant, Yoon Suk-yeol, is hereby sentenced to life imprisonment. This was, of course, the sentencing handed by Ju Gi-yeon, the justice in charge of this. Really sent shockwaves through South Korea, and I think it shocked both ends of the political spectrum.
Yes, definitely.
The far-right conservatives who were supporters of Yoon were shocked that he was guilty. Others were basically going, wait, we were looking for a death penalty here. Let's talk about this ruling and what it signifies, not only legally, but politically and culturally.
Sure. On February 19th at around 4 p.m., the Seoul Central District Court sentenced former President Yoon Suk-yeol to life imprisonment, and he was indicted for declaring what the court ruled to be an unconstitutional and illegal state of emergency on December 3rd, 2024, and it took about 443 days from the declaration to the first trial verdict. And the presiding judge Ji Gui-yeon of Criminal Division 25 stated that the core issue was sending troops to the National Assembly and ruled that it constituted the legal definition of insurrection.
So we can say that the court clearly saw this as an insurrection.
That's right. The court ruled that the emergency decree disrupted constitutional order and that deploying the military to block the National Assembly amounted to violent suppression of democratic authority. And under Korean law, the leader of insurrection faces only 3 sentencing options: death penalty, life imprisonment, or life imprisonment without labor. And the special prosecutor had sought the death penalty to Yoon Suk-yeol, but the court instead imposed life imprisonment, and the judge emphasized that Yoon led and planned the act, and he also involved multiple officials, and the social cost was enormous. And Yoon also showed little remorse and often refused to attend the trial.
I will tell you this. You know what? Ironically, what saved Yoon from a death penalty, ironically, is the fact that the people went out to block the military
Right.
and the lawmakers had enough time to lift the martial law, and we call it short-lived martial law.
Right.
If that martial law went successful,
Oh,
right?
we don't even want to imagine that.
Right, and I think and all the craziness that would have happened afterwards, because we found out what he was planning to do, right? Some
Right.
people were in the people to kill list and stuff like that, and he was facing trial. It would have been death penalty, 100%.
Sure.
But again, as I mentioned earlier on, the reactions have been deeply divided. Let's hear the reactions from both sides.
Okay, so some see this verdict as a turning point, a chance to move beyond the political division that has continued for over a year since the December 3rd emergency decree. There was concern that the sentence might be reduced, especially since his detention had previously been cancelled. And those concerns did not materialize. But, however, some critics argue the punishment should have been the death penalty instead of the life imprisonment. And others were even angered by parts of the ruling that noted that the plan appeared poorly executed, no death occurred, and Yoon's long public service and age. And some felt that those remarks softened the gravity of attempting to overturn constitutional order. And politically, responses were also nuanced. Jung Chong-rae of the Democratic Party called the life sentence regrettable, but welcomed the recognition of insurrection. But Choguk of Choguk Hyeoksin당, Rebuilding Korea Party, emphasized the need to revise pardon laws to prevent clemency for insurrectionists. Justice Minister Chung Sung-ho said the ruling reaffirmed that no one stands above the Constitution, yet questioned whether the sentence fully reflected the gravity of a military rebellion attempt. In the meantime, People Power Party leader Jang Dong-hyuk responded to the first instance life sentence against Yoon by expressing regret and insisting that the presumption of innocence still applies as the ruling is not final. And rejecting calls to sever ties with Yoon, Jang argued that those demanding a break are the ones who should be cut off and questioned the legal reasoning of the court's decision. He also appealed directly to what he called patriotic citizens outside the institutional framework to unite under the party's banner, a message widely interpreted as courting Yoon's core supporters or far-right Yoon again supporters rather than moderates. And his remarks have deepened internal divisions within the party, raising concerns about its electoral prospects ahead of upcoming local elections as well. Meanwhile, Yoon's legal team announced an appeal arguing factual errors and political bias in the judgment. And both the defense and the special prosecution team have now filed appeals.
It's some things that you sometimes, I mean, you kind of see this like in the U.S. right now. Some of the avid supporters of Trump, it's almost like a cult-like sort of thing that you see.
Yeah.
But even with the Yoon supporters, it's to that extent because there was clear-cut evidence, right? There was a list that came out of all the people that he wanted arrested, first and foremost. Even... Han Dong-un was on that list too. There was a broadcaster, right? Kim Ho-jun was on that list.
Right.
Basically, everyone that went against him was on this list, and who knows what was going to happen to that. And then I think Kim Ho-jun came out. He said, I was actually he ran off, knowing that his life was. Being threatened and stuff like that.
Also, then party leader and now President Lee Jae-myung was on the list.
He was on the list, right? He was on the list. They
Mm-hmm.
found out all these things. The zip ties are going. They found all the what is it? The hoods that you put over your head. They found all of that stuff. They were going to do all this. There's clear-cut evidence, but they still say he's innocent because that's not a coup. That's not an insurrection. Well, the judge says so. It is, but that's only the first instance here. What can we expect now? What happens next?
Well, now three major questions remain. First, whether a revision to Korea's pardon law will be introduced, possibly banning clemency for insurrection or requiring National Assembly approval. Second, whether the appellate court will raise the sentence to death or reduce it to a fixed term imprisonment. And third, if the Supreme Court were to confirm a death sentence, would Korea resume executions? That is highly unlikely because South Korea has not carried out an execution since 1997, effectively making a de facto state that abolished the death penalty.
Yeah.
So this case could reshape not only political law, but also capital punishment policy as well.
So what everyone is saying is like, it doesn't matter if you're given like a life sentence. It doesn't matter if you're given like a 20-year sentence.
But it's symbolic.
But
right?
the problem with that is that, let's say the administration changes, and let's say the People Power Party or whatever, because they're planning to change their name too, right? A new president comes in years down the run, and then they decide to, grant clemency to former President Yoon, then he's going to be out, and they're all going like, what's the problem? What's the point then?
Right.
However, this is why the DP is now pushing for this new revision in the law,
That's
where
right.
if you're found guilty of insurrection and treason, which is the number one worst thing you could do, right, then you cannot be pardoned.
So no one is going to try to even like declare the martial law from now on.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, because the other, because Chun Do-han,
I know.
he was given a death sentence, right? I mean, but then he was, pardoned later on. I don't know why
That's
you would do the
right.
same thing. But again, in the sharp contrast, there's another headline. While former president faces life sentence, Korean citizens have been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Let's talk about this.
Yes, according to Professor Kim Eui-young of Seoul National University, political scientists affiliated with the International Political Science Association recommended the Citizen Collective of South Korea to the Norwegian Nobel Committee, and they described the public's response to the December 3rd emergency decree as a revolution of light, 피체혁명, non-violent civic mobilization that defended constitutional order without civil war or bloodshed. And President Lee Jae-myung reacted on X, saying Korea became a model for humanity. And he also previously stated that if the Korean people were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, it would become a turning point for democracies struggling with polarization worldwide.
And also, if they, I mean, I think
you can be the laureate of Nobel Prize.
No, but then even though, like, if you are just a nominee, then it's proof once again that democracy was threatened.
Right.
Right. That's what the Nobel, committee is saying. Nobel Peace Committee is saying, and so it also goes against everyone who's saying that wasn't a coup, that wasn't insurrection. So this isn't about the law; it's about identity and assets of Korea.
Yes. Some scholars now speak of K-democracy in the same way we talk about K-pop or K-drama as something globally influential. And the same society that experienced a constitutional crisis, also demonstrated a democratic resilience that's very meaningful. And while a former president sentenced for insurrection, citizens of that same country were nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, and that contrast may define this chapter of Korean history.
Wait a minute, no, this is going to be mine. I deserve it. No, this is incredible. I love this news.
Yes.
We'll continue to talk about other major issues at hand, but first, this is Dynamic Duo with 죽일놈 Guilty. Issues happening in big, beautiful issues happening here in Korea. We talked about
Are you a fan of Trump?
No, the thing that I'm really upset about, we talked about this with David yesterday. There's a Chinese Trump. You know about the Chinese Trump?
Yeah, you talked about it
Yes,
before.
and he's so famous. I should have been the Korean Trump. I would have been famous too.
Korean Trump? You're American Trump.
Man, actually, I am American, right?
Our producer
jeez.
says stop mocking Trump.
Why
Really?
do you
Is it
read
a
stuff
fan?
like
Is
that?
it a fan?
Why do you read messages like that? Why do you read messages like that? There are certain messages you read and you don't read.
Oh, okay.
17 days of competition.
I have no 눈치.
You have no nunchi. 17 days of competition has come to an end. We're talking about over in Italy, the Winter Games, the Milan Cortina Winter Games, right? I have to say, this is one of the most, the quietest Winter Games
It was.
that I've experienced. Maybe it's like the time difference, maybe, but still, though, Team Korea
Yes.
had its share of golden moments. Let's talk about this.
The 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympics marked a structural shift with 6 Olympic villages and 4 competition clusters. Nearly 2,900 athletes from 92 national Olympic committees competed across northern Italy. And Team Korea sent a delegation of 130 members, including including 71 athletes. They finished 13th overall with 3 gold, 4 silvers, and 3 bronze medals. And they narrowly missed their target of finishing inside the top 10, but improved 1 place from Beijing 2022. And many here are calling it a half success, but also a meaningful reset.
So they had a really good year, obviously, with the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Games.
Yes, they did.
Beijing, China is actually a powerhouse when it comes to the Summer Games. Not so much for the Winter Games, but they really, kicked it up a notch for the Winter Games, and Korea didn't really fare well. But the big thing is Korea usually dominates in short track.
Yes.
However, now they're all hiring Korean coaches. And so everyone's good now.
Right.
And so it's now a short track gold medal is not even a given anymore.
Yes.
But speaking of which, let's talk about our short track success.
Yes, you're right. But still, short track once again proved to be Korean's medal backbone. Korea won 7 medals, 2 gold, 3 silver, and 2 bronze, improving on Beijing's results. And most importantly, the women's team reclaimed the 3,000-meter relay gold for the first time in 8 years. At the center of the story were 2 names, Choi Min-jung and Kim Gil-lee. Of course, we had Sim Seok-ki and Do Do-hee as well, but Choi Min-jung, often called a living legend, secured her 7th Olympic medal, the most by any Korean Winter Olympian in history. And she surpassed greats like Jin Jong-ho and Lee Sung-hoon. And then there was Kim Gil-lee. She defeated her idol/role model, Choi Min-jung, in the women's 1,500-meter final, claimed 2 golds overall, and added a bronze in the 1,000-meter. And her final lap inside pass in the relay will likely be remembered as the defining moment of these games for Korea. So from Choi to Kim, it felt symbolic, like a graceful passing of the torch.
Yeah.
New generation.
It was with 2 laps left, I think, that she passed. She did a very, the inside move was brilliant because the Italian skater was in the front.
She's a legendary skater.
She was in the front. And she made that slight mistake. She gave that little tiny window of room, and then as soon as she saw that, boom!
Right.
Boom, that was
That was
incredible. Let's talk about the men's side.
Bittersweet. Veteran Hwang Dae-heon added a silver medal to his career total, and rookie Im Jong-un captured bronze in his Olympic debut. But for the first time in 12 years, the men finished without a gold medal. Still, this isn't decline. It reflects how globally competitive short track has become, and the field is deeper, faster, more balanced. Also, we learned that there are no eternal champions, only evolving ones. So, yeah, that's the lesson we learned.
That's right. I mean, it's always been tough, and especially with men's relay. That's been the really tough one to get a gold medal as well. But let's move on to figure skating because there was high expectations for figure skating, right?
Especially around Cha Jun-han,
Yeah.
competing in his 3rd Olympics while managing an ankle injury. Cha finished 4th at just 0.98 points shy of bronze. And it was heartbreaking, but also historic because he improved from 15th in Pyeongchang and 5th in Beijing to achieve Korea's best ever Olympic men's singles result. On the women's side, young skaters stepped forward. For example, Lee Jae-in finished 8th with a season-best total score, joining legends like Kim Yeona among Korea's top Olympic women's results. And Shin Ji-ah recovered from a fall in the short program to post a personal best in the free skate and finish 11th. And even the ice dance team of Im Hae-na and Kwon Ye, despite an early exit, made history by helping Korea return to the team event for the first time since 2018.
Cha Jun-han was, I think there was a lot of expectation on him, but there was a slight mistake, slip on his performance that
so
cost him.
close.
It was closer, but he's like a celebrity already.
He is.
He's a big star. We delivered this news the other week, but let's bring up one more time. Golden surprise in snowboarding.
Choi Ga-eun won gold in the women's half pipe, delivering one of the most emotional moments of the games for Korea, showing that Korea's winter identity is expanding beyond the ice rinks. And Choi is another example who surpassed her idol, Chloe Kim, like Kim Gil-lee. In curling, the women's team showed consistency and tactical growth, reinforcing Korea's reputation as a rising power in the sport. And beyond competition, Korea also achieved something equally significant in sports diplomacy. Won Yun-jong was elected as an IOC Athletes Commission member, earning the highest number of votes among candidates. And combined with Kim Jae-yeol's election to the IOC Executive Board, Korea once again holds 2 IOC seats, strengthening its global sports voice.
Our producer said he almost cried watching Chae-gawan's performance.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's very
Because she
young.
slipped like
She's
twice.
only 17, yeah.
She's very young. She slipped like, it was big. I actually finally was able to see it because he kept on telling me, how could you not see it? It was big fall.
Right, it was.
It was a big fall the first run. And then so, to be able to surpass.
No one expected her to compete again, because...
After the first fall, it seemed like she was going to be out of it.
It was huge.
But I also really love what Chloe Kim said afterwards. Because know that it's like a role model and things like that.
She congratulated Chae-gawan.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And Chloe Kim, she's boyfriend, Miles Garrett, great football player. Really cute couple.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. He's a very famous football player.
I didn't know.
But
you rooted for Chloe because you're a U.S.
Stop
citizen.
reading everything she writes. Are you Ron Burgundy? She's reading everything that our producers write. That's only for your eyes. Seong has, just like Gordon says, 눈치 없네.
Because what PD님 says is very, very important.
I can't believe she's reading everything that she's writing. Anyways, we'll take another short break before we go into our last and third issue, 101 with Gold.
영원히 stay gold and never let go.
Cuter than Will Ferrell. Well, I don't know.
Aww.
I don't know about that.
Aw, thank you for your compliment.
You don't know who Ron Burgundy is, don't you?
I don't.
Ron Burgundy is the greatest news anchor in the history.
Yes, I do know him.
You do know him?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Now I do.
It's on a movie. He's a movie character.
Now I do.
Anyways, let's move on here. South Korea welcomed a major state visit this week. As Brazil, the leader of Brazil arriving in Seoul. It is his first state visit in 21 years. Wasn't just a diplomatic courtesy call. What happened in Seoul was very strategic, very cultural, even some personal dimensions as well. Seong, let's unpack the South Korea-Brazil summit.
Sure. President Lee and President Lula held a summit at the Blue House on Monday, a visit marked by warm gestures, mutual respect, and substantive agreements. The two leaders agreed to elevate Korea-Brazil ties to a strategic partnership, the highest level in diplomatic relations between the countries reached 67 years after former diplomatic relations began. Their talks covered cooperation across the trade, strategic minerals, technology, agriculture, health, AI, space, and culture. And they also adopted a 4-year joint action plan and signed about 10 memorandums of understanding to operate or execute that vision. President Lee also stressed the need to reopen negotiations toward the Korea-Mercosur trade agreement, potentially connecting South Korea with a major South American economic bloc. Because for South Korea, strengthening ties with South American countries could diversify export market and secure access to critical raw minerals.
Something that we've been seeing ever since the start of the Lee Jae-myung administration is that there are certain pictures that go viral every time he has these summits. There was another very viral image between the two leaders where they looked very genuinely comfortable with each other. What happened here?
Well, their personal stories overlap in very meaningful ways. Both leaders overcame early economic hardship. In fact, each worked as a child laborer in tough conditions before rising to national leadership. President Lula famously worked as a shoeshine boy and a factory worker in Brazil, while President Lee Jae-myung also experienced poverty and worked in factories during his youth. And again, each rose from difficult beginnings to national leadership. And that shared experience became a narrative in Seoul, with President Lee calling Lula my eternal comrade on social media ahead of the visit. And that personal connection isn't just symbolic, it underlines underlines the mutual interest in inclusive growth and social development, striking a chord with both societies and giving their strategic partnership more texture than a typical state visit because it's, in the end, it's all about human and human are about emotions.
And that's the thing. It's like what I like about, the summits with President Lee Jae-myung is just like, there is no it's not stiff.
Right.
Let's first
Very
talk
friendly.
like humans, right?
Yeah,
Let's
right.
talk like humans, right? Like it is a summit. We're both leaders of whatever countries, but let's be human first.
Maybe his F, his MBTI is F. President Lee
President Lee
Jae-myung.
Jae-myung, do you think he's an F? I don't think he's an F.
You don't think so?
I don't think he's
His
an
J,
F. I
for
think
sure. His J.
He's F. You have to be a J when
Yeah.
you do all this stuff. What about the cultural side of the visit?
During the summit, President Lee and Brazilian President Lula hosted a state banquet at the presidential guest house with top political, business, cultural, and academic leaders in attendance. And guests included industry leaders from Samsung, SK, Hyundai, LG, and others, reflecting the breadth of bilateral cooperation. And at the same time, first ladies also engaged in cultural diplomacy. First Lady Kim Hae-kyung presented a traditional Korean hanbok to Brazilian First Lady Rosângela Lula da Silva, or Janja, she's often called. The hanbok presentation carefully chosen to reflect the colors of Brazil's flag,
Yeah.
green, yellow, and blue, and shared cultural moments, reinforce people-to-people and soft power connections as much as policy deals do.
Like First Lady Kim, she has this very welcoming face. I don't know if you've
Right.
It's very
whenever
warm.
she smiles, it gives very
Yeah.
warm atmosphere.
It was also the same with former President Moon and the First Lady, it just has a very welcoming vibe, right?
And on the global stage, she often wears hanbok and
Yes.
beautiful hanbok. She looks very beautiful.
That's
in
right.
hanbok,
Yeah, some people they just look good in hanboks, right? So why is this visit important for South Korea on the global stage, though?
Well, Brazil is South America's largest economy and Korea's largest trading partner in that region. And deepening ties opens Korea to new markets, resources, and supply chain opportunities, especially in critical minerals, like I said, like nickel and rare earth elements. And the strategic partnership also brings closer cooperation on technology, agriculture, and industry, and lays groundwork for broader regional engagement through South American bloc. And finally, the personal rapport between President Lee and Lula, rooted in shared life experiences and political values, offers a durable foundation, one that can sustain ties beyond the short-term interest.
It's again needs to be more connection with the South American side.
Right.
I
We
think-
have to expand our export portfolio.
Absolutely, especially given right now with all the
Right.
trade wars that are coming out, with all the global uncertainties when it comes to global trade, and I think expanding. But again, we have to understand that it hasn't even been a year since the start of the Lee Jae-myung administration, and so there's probably going to be and so far I think. Economy side, right? We saw with, I feel like next week we're going to start talking about the cost be going 6,000 and stuff like that. And that front, it's been good, but there is still room for improvement in the economy, which I think President Lee
Right.
Jae-myung is going to work on. But
Culture exchange as well,
Right.
people-to-people exchange.
But I think the one thing that President Lee has really done a fantastic job in the first year so far is the diplomacy.
Right.
And that was the one thing that was really lacking in the former Yoon administration. There was
that's
always
right.
controversies and stuff like that. And hopefully this is start many other the summits and meetings that will happen
Yes.
moving forward here. Anyways, Hae-young, thank you so much for this. Have a
Merci.
fantastic what?
Mercy, like Iris, she always says mercy instead of thank you. Mercy, mercy.
Oh, merci. I think
Mercy.
I think that mercy,
No,
mercy me.
instead of thank you.
Okay. 일점만.
I'll continue to practice.
Sam, thank you very much
Thank
for
you so
this. We'll see you
much.
again next week. We talked about President Lula, who came. As we send her off, we're going to take a listen to a song from Rula with 3-4.
여기 숨 쉬는 이 시간